Green Border, the third jury prize, basically. Well, no, the special jury prize, which is essentially the third prize of the festival, went to Green
Yeah.
Border. Is it a Polish film? Yeah, it is a
Uh,
Polish film. It's a
y-
Belgium, Czechia, and France co-production, but I feel like Poland is probably the main
yeah.
one. Anyways, it's an EU production. When you get like 25 logos in four different countries,
Yeah,
and Italy
it's
had,
also
dude, some of the Italian productions had like 5 minutes worth of logos at the start.
like I believe like not Commandante, but like the movie after had like so many logos. I was like, damn, like this is a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know which one you
Um,
mean.
but yeah,
Yeah.
Green Border is also like it is an EU project, also basically because it's talking about a big EU crisis, about the immigrant crisis, about like refugees, etc.
Hmm.
Going to Belarus and trying to cross the border to go into Poland, which is like the first, then they're officially into the EU. And the Polish border agent and the Belarus border agent, they're kind of playing ping pong with each other, with the
With
immigrants and
human
refugees
lives,
at
yeah.
said borders and playing with human lives.
It's essentially
I
playing ping pong with maybe soft-boiled eggs. Is maybe a way you could put it. The way that they treat them.
Yeah,
And a lot of them like going to even extend this analogy, pretending they're all bad eggs, and they're
yeah,
clearly not, breaking some along the process, yeah, treating everyone with the not even a shred of humanity, and it's an ongoing crisis. It's something that's still going on, so it's like one of those movies that tackles something that's important. I feel like structurally, it does like the chapter thing, and we both agreed that it kind of breaks that at one point, because it's essentially at first really just like sticking to the perspective, and then once it introduces that perspective, it sometimes cuts back to like a different perspective that we've previously established, and by the end of it, it's just like cross-cutting the whole time, and it lost me a bit there. It's also the longest movie that I saw,
yeah.
152 minutes. uh I feel like a lot of it is important, but some of the stuff you could condense down a bit because it's a harder sell, if it's longer film. But
Yeah,
it's
and after
yeah.
a while, you can only show refugees crossing the border that many times, right? I mean, they have to, but
Yeah.
like it gets a bit stale after
Yeah,
that. But
yeah. I feel like the frustration that you have with it is intentional. But yeah, it doesn't make for the greatest cinema experience. But that's kind of the
yeah,
point.
but there were also like moments, I feel like there were moments where you could feel the anger of the filmmaker, you could feel the
Oh
anger
yeah.
of the story, because at some point, like a pregnant woman gets thrown on barbed wire and
Mm.
rolls off it. Like those are the moments where you can really feel as a human, like, oh fuck these people. But like those moments of anger and frustration don't show up that often, but when they do hit, just not as consistent as I would have liked. And also
Yeah.
like ends like there's also like a epilogue which is kind of tacked on to the movie, which I do get, but it's also like,
I
oh
forgot.
well,
I forget what the epilogue
they
was.
basically, the movie focused on the border between Poland and Belarus, but then at the end they also focused on Ukraine, which I felt like a
Oh
bit
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was basically making the comparison, which I agree is like a really big issue. Not
yeah.
in the way that like that like lots of Ukrainian refugees were let into the EU, but the other ones from the Middle Eastern and African side are not, which I think it really is a big issue. Maybe pair this
Yeah.
movie up with Origin and really get really angry. Uh
Yeah.
and it also
And
leaves you frustrated with what you are actually able to do, because there is a bunch of like characters who are engaged with activism and trying to help, but they are so restricted in what they're able to do that I was like, I multiply got like a headache and got like angry by how little they can do, even though they're so engaged with just like saving human lives, and that they're not able to. And it's one of the films that, like, it's made even stronger because it is so unapologetically just pretty much real. Yeah,
yeah.
and what it's trying to depict. So yeah, warm recommendation for Green Border, but it's a heavy watch.
Yeah,
Might even
like
be the heaviest of the whole
with
festival, to be
Origin
honest.
and Green Border, these are the two thematic heavy movies
Yeah,
like people must see because of its topic. I do agree with that.
exactly. Yeah, both of them showed them in
Yeah,
classrooms. I feel like it should be basic education. Just like taking away people's humanity just through politics is something that is abhorrent, and it keeps being done. And it's just frustrating to see. So, yeah, very educational and good movies along the way as well.